Recording in progress.
The voice sounds different than
That's an improvement.
You got a new voice?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Call the Morrow County Commission. There's no lead. It's easy. Go ahead and do that.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, so public comment. Is there anybody in the room that love to? Is there anybody on Zoom? If you would like to make a public comment, please raise your hand. Nobody's
Not seeing any.
Okay. Consideration adoption of agenda. Do I hear a motion to do that?
So the chair changes. We do have removal of item 6E. John Murray's asked to be pulled that off. He didn't have all the information that he'd like to discuss. And in lieu of that, I will be reaching out to him and trying to meet with him and Rory Roulette as interim public works director, just to kind of get an understanding what the request is.
I'll talk to you about this before the meeting.
Okay, well, thank you. But yes, we pulled that off. That's right.
Well, it's off now, but just before you,
Of course.
the other thing I want to talk to you. Okay.
So I'll move for approval with the subtraction of item 6E.
I second.
Moved in second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Okay, next up is the consent agenda. I'd like to pull out 5C.
Department reports, Dave.
Oh, I'm sorry. Trying to get out of here too early. Okay, department reports. Clerk's quarterly report. Bobby, are you online? You on Zoom? Okay. Coordinating council, Jessica Rose.
She's traveling and doesn't have a good cell signal, but she did have the written report submitted.
Okay. Rory. You, sir.
Yeah. Good morning, commissioners.
Or good morning.
Rory Roulette, Public Works Deputy Director. Update for roads. Rock crushing. We've had our rock crushing contractor out. Got started at Clark's Canyon for 20,000 tons over there. Finished that up. It's over at Thompson Pit for 40,000 tons. Up there, they should be wrapping up today and then moving over to the Doherty pit for 20,000 tons over there. So glad to have that supply available for us. The main focus this past month has been on the Baker Lane paving project over by Cecil. Went well, or it's going well. We got all the asphalt placed. We still have quite a bit to do to complete that project. We've got to get a chip seal on it, some shoulder rock, striping, some signage. So we'll continue to work on that moving forward, but things are going well. Crews have been out preparing for some chip seal projects. We will be chip sealing Black Horse, Cemetery Hill, Decox, Ion Boardman, and Baker Lane this year. We actually were going to be chip sealing this week, but with that storm that came through Cecil last Thursday, made quite the mess and had some flooding and some washouts. So crews were out over the weekend and this week getting everything repaired and put back together. So everything should be cleaned up today or tomorrow. Should get everything finished up this week and then on to chip sealing next week. For solid waste, we just wrapped up our partnership with City Heppner and their cleanup voucher program. That went well. Great opportunity for residents to get some spring cleaning done and get some free dumping to go along with that. So good, successful program that Heppner puts on. We have had some staffing challenges at our transfer stations. We are fully staffed. But we still have, illnesses that come up, some paid time off. And so we are working through some brainstorming some different ideas and things that we can do to try to help mitigate that. I know how frustrating it can be when we do have to close those down. So we are working our very best moving forward to try to prevent that from happening as least as possible. Um, we also had our Solid Waste Advisory Committee meeting May 19th. Went well. I did just want to give a thank you for all the community members that do help and sit in on those meetings and go through those discussions. I know it takes time out of everybody's day, but it's really appreciated. And not just that committee, really our road committee, airport. It's really helpful when you have help and support from the community to sit in, take time out of their day to go through those discussions and really try to help improve really the overall experience for county residents. So thank you to them. Recycle On container at the North Transfer Station. We partnered with Circular Action Alliance for a Recycle On container. It'll provide additional recycling opportunities for harder to recycle materials, including plastic bottles, tubs, buckets, aluminum, steel, and paper. The container is on site and anticipated to become active soon. We will have a full list of accepted materials on the county website. At the airport, we haven't experienced any major operational changes this month. There has been increased air traffic with the better weather. And we were able to host a unmanned aircraft systems crew out at Hood River that came up or has been up there the last couple of months, utilizing our Lexington airport, which is nice to see and just kind of see the different technologies with those aircraft and capabilities. Corey and Justin with weeds. They've continue on with roadside spraying. I think they're about 90%. I know they have a lot of contract spraying coming up that they'll be working on. I think that's about it, unless you guys have any questions.
Okay, any questions, Roy?
How's the interim head feeling?
Busy, but good. Things are going well.
Okay, good.
The storms in Cecil and Ione was the evening I said he got the big hat on.
And you still think it's going to, that's good.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, thank you, Rory.
All right. Thank you, Commissioners.
Okay, next up, our county administrator report, Matt.
So just a few items. It seems like with Memorial Day weekend, it was a really quick 2 weeks, but just wanted to comment, budget process, appreciate the budget committee going through and doing their review, including 3 of you. We are looking forward to the budget hearing on June 20th and look forward to have a short discussion with you to answer any final questions before adoption of the budget. Appreciate Kevin and the finance department's efforts as they put that together and looking forward to getting that in place. We did receive news for the Bartholomew Building Generator Project. If you remember, several months ago, there was a deadline and just with the inconsistency with the federal items and that, we just received notice this last week and received official notice that that's being extended through like May of 2027. So now we do have time to get those generators in. We're telling the consultant to proceed and get that taken care of. We're got to work with finance on that. There'll likely be a budget change right after we adopt this to incorporate that, but we do have the grant funds in there. A week ago, I held an all-staff town hall Q&A meeting just to talk with the employees about different items. Top item for me to relay was just information on the budget. And I did broach the subject of the canceled compensation study. There's a lot of questions on that. Went through, continued to learn that the statements that I say have long and impactful power as we go through. But overall, the event was seen as a positive interaction. We did have union representatives attend as well, and they all reached out and appreciated the efforts for transparency and encouraged continually holding these meetings.
I have a question on that.
Yes, sir.
Was it just staff or do you have electeds there too?
I did an all-staff invite, so I know we did have electeds. Sheriff Bowles was in the room. I didn't see everybody who was online, so we did have elected officials. Some elected officials attend. I'm not sure if they all did. Many of what we did was we reserved the conference rooms at Public Works, the Oregon Government Center, and people were able to do that. They're also able to log in on their computers as well. So it was a lot better attended than I was expecting, and so a lot of interest in it. So I'm hoping we can continue to have that kind of forum. Circuit Court project. Progress continues. They keep working on it. And just to relay, Chair, we are working on that high-res rendering for you. Hopefully we'll have that to you later today that you requested for the final build.
Well, yeah, the Hermiston Herald was doing a special on our old courthouse, and then he threw in some stuff about the new courthouse. So I talked to him a little bit about, but I thought it'd be nice to send him a picture of it.
I'm hoping to get that today from Kelly. We're going ahead. We do have the cost projections to the finance department. They're being incorporated into budget adjustments. So we have final numbers that are really close to what is there. And we do have the reimbursement agreement that's in the consent agenda that you'd mentioned that you'd like to pull out and discuss as well. Public Works transition. It's good. We had that farewell luncheon for Eric. Rory stepped in. The position has been posted on ours, and I'm getting it out to other groups so that we can have that. We anticipate a 3 to 4 week posting on that, and then we'll go through interviews and everything on that. In the meantime, I'll be touching base with Rory and the rest of the admin team for Public Works just to keep apprised of what's going on and provide assistance as necessary. In fact, Rory and I are going on a little asphalt tour tomorrow morning, so just to check out on those things. Outside of that, continue to work. Budget was a big thing for finance department. We're still working on several other projects and look forward to just taking things forward.
I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
The community grant committee, I forget the official.
Community Assistant Grant Program.
Could you give us a little update on that?
Yes. So we have received the scoring back from the committee, and our goal is to bring the list of proposed awards within the budgetary requirements that we've set to the BOC on the next June meeting. So you should see it on the 17th.
Do you feel like you got a good response from the community?
I think we did. I mean, I think we can do better. We had different groups. I mean, we had the same old seniors, food banks, but we had a soccer league put in a grant, and we'll have a list of all those that put in, and so you can see what it was along with our recommended awards. And so it was interesting to see who all applied. And so this year was a little bit rushed, but it seems like the word got out. And we hope that as we see some success from it, that it will continue to build. And the committee was very studious and purposeful with their ratings. And I'm hoping that they are challenged in years to come to say, okay, this is how much, where do we go? And hopefully as things go, and if we can consider more or less, we know that this amount that's going out is vetted and has an opportunity for all entities to apply for.
Now, they're not appointed by the BOC, they're just year-to-year people who are on that work.
Yeah, we didn't have it fleshed out on that. We had each board member provide us a member, and what I'd like to do is, as we go through that, of course, Commissioner Windholz, transferring on to private life will allow his successor to choose one or just kind of give a blessing on the ones that's
We
there.
can choose Commissioner Windholz since he's not a
Yeah,
commissioner.
exactly. Since he doesn't have an abundance of free time. So, but yeah, so right now we'll just check with you early on in the process, see if you're okay with the person that's representing for you and go through.
Not that I wanted one particularly.
No.
I just kind of wondered how
Yeah.
the evolution of the thing was going to go.
And, as we look at it, kind of like with the capital improvement program, we'll be offering a few tweaks on that in the next month or so. If we do want to see and set a true 2-year term or 3-year term, very open to that. But this first one seems they're very engaged.
Good.
So,
Any other questions?
Kevin had his hand up.
No?
Kevin has his hand up.
Oh, Kevin, yes.
I just wanted clarification, Matt, you mentioned June 20th for the budget hearing. And it's after the 17th. So
I apologize. You're right. I don't know why I had 20th. I think I was looking at a different calendar. You are correct, June 17th. Unless you want to come in on Saturday. You have had a habit of working Saturdays, so.
I'm good with it.
Yes, June 17th. Thank you.
So then Dave, I see Bobby's on now if you wanted to see if she.
Oh, okay.
Work.
Bobby, did you want to give a department report? Do you hear us? No. Well, she gets on, we can circle back. She just got through the election. She might want to run us down on how that went.
Sorry. I
Oh,
was
she just
trying
unmuted.
Oh,
to-
did you want to give a report, Bobby?
I just looked at the thing, hadn't looked at anything, didn't even realize I was on it. Sorry. So, sure, what do you want to know?
How are things going, Bobby? That's what we want to know.
Well, if you put your head in the sand, you don't have to deal with it. That's kind of like where I want to be right now. Everything's really close. Today is the day that people can request the challenge ballots. I've had that. I told them they had to put in their request in my format so that I have that. 7 ballots were cured. So I've got those to run. I had 55 a couple days after the election that I ran, and it's still, the EO put out that, they're going to November. I really wish they wouldn't do that kind of stuff because I'm not done. Nothing's official until we certify. So next week we have, of course, it's a primary. We have a mandatory hand recount. The 10th will be given that what we're going to hand recount from the state. The last day to start that's the 15th. The last day for the abstracts is the 15th. All my timelines run together really tight right now. If you've looked online, I have our information, those ballots that are sitting there. I'm trying to decide whether I run them or don't run them, because if people get the challenge list, now they're going to be calling these people, and then they know who they are. If they cure their ballot and I run one ballot, they may know who that person is, because they could ask for a list again, and then that person would be off, and then they would know exactly how they voted. So sometimes, be better to just wait till the 9th, which is the last day to cure a ballot. So anyway, probably too much information, but otherwise, my boards did well. We're doing well. just hurry up and wait now. I've got certificates done for the winners. And I don't have certificates done because for the one commission race, because I don't know how it's gonna go. Because a person has to win by 50+1. According to the directive from the state. Any questions?
Any questions of Bobby?
No, good luck.
Ha, thanks, I need it.
So,
Just don't believe anything you hear.
Okay. Wait till June 15th until we do that.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping for the 10th or the 11th. I'm probably gonna stay late. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
okay, next up now is the consent agenda. And I want to pull out 5C. I don't know about the rest of you guys, what you want to do.
I just want to make a comment on the May 6th minutes. I found a couple of very minor typos I presented to Valerie, but I'm okay with giving them
Okay.
a confidential purpose.
Okay. So I heard a motion to accept the consent agenda less A and C.
No,
Oh,
A is fine. We'll approve it. I was just letting know that.
Some minor technical corrections, but, or scrivener's errors. No,
Yes.
I think that's the
okay,
word.
so you don't have to announce it there.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I move
Okay,
to accept the consent agenda with removal of 5C.
Second.
moved to second, any further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, what I was wanting on 5C, I guess got a little self-interest here if I'm reading it right. The board chair signed it.
With
The
that.
board chair is on the dispute committee with the no, I'm not, I read it twice, but you can help me, Justin, with the Chief Justice. So, and I'm not saying opposed to it, or I don't have to, I just kind of want to know more of what this is, and it's required by the state, right?
Correct. So the funding agreement itself, yeah, that's the thing. And it's a long one at times, like every state agreement. And it is the requirement from the state, where they sent us, reminds me a lot like OHA agreement, that they're all different, of course, but where it says, hey, if you want our money, here's the agreement. If you don't, okay, you will. And so right now, I just correct it is signed right now, at least for the signing of it, doesn't have to be the chair. It's only one signature. I guess the signing of the agreement could be appointed to any of the commissioners, or even though it says it on here, Morrow County has one spot to sign. If we felt better signing all three, I mean, it can still be signed all three. It doesn't have to just be one. There's only space for one. Now the review committee is different.
I don't have an opposition to doing that. I've done it on a bunch of others.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
Sorry. And that's the only thing. And the other question was about the committee that.
No, my other question, well, I just mentioned that because I just mentioned it because that is why I'm interested in it.
Yes.
But I just want an explanation of, there's a couple things like, what do we do with, what happens when there's cost overruns? Because these won't be coming to the BOC. What happens there?
So I guess the cost overruns, I mean, they have a certain amount they'll pay. Now, if it goes above a certain point what they've allocated, and Matt, I know you've worked on this quite a bit too on it, but that'll be a certain amount.
So if there's cost overruns as far as a change in the cost of the project, which right now we're on, but we're early in the project. Of course, any change orders of any sizable magnitude would come to the Board of Commission. And from the experience the DLR group has said, if there's a substantial cost overrun that's hitting it, we go back to the ODJ and ask for more money if it's going to impact the portions that they are providing.
Okay, that was my question. It's possible to get a cost overrun. Now explain to me, we put our portion into a fund. Is that correct?
Yes.
How's that work?
So what we've done is we've actually we've already done the transfer showing that we have the funds available. We've already transferred that to the state and back according to our treasurer. As we get this signed, I'm going to have a meeting with Kevin, myself, and OJD and DAS, because we have invoices we're immediately going to start saying we need to reimburse on. The first part is that $2 million, which is the part one of the funding. And then the part two, I would like to get that one on the agenda for the 17th.
That's 13.
That's the 13 million, because we're already into construction. The 2 million is for design. And so, so as far as where we put our money, Kevin, would you want to address that? As far as that we've just put it into the investment funds and pulled out certain monies according to the spend patterns. And is that correct?
Yeah, so we did the deposit with the state that was required, and that's been returned to the county, and we are providing, we base our budget and on this, the spend plan that's in there, and that's what we give our investment advisors to determine what our cash flow requirements are going to be. So the money that is in excess of what we're going to need in the next 12 months, would be just into our pooled investments, and the rest would remain liquid for us to access. Accounting wise, it's all in the capital improvement fund is what it's all being put.
And we knew before going in that this was going to be required, right? This agreement here, that was just something new they wanted from us.
No, we knew there was going to be an agreement.
So there's,
I'm sorry, that's, this wording.
we've had a template of this for over a year and a half. We've worked through this. Just to let you know, there will be, so we have this master funding agreement that's kind of been in limbo for a little bit. We have the part one that's for the design, which we're going to spend really quick. We have the part two that'll be coming, which will cover the bulk of their portion of the construction. There will also be a third agreement that will be coming up, which is more or less our agreement with them to occupy our space. And so you'll see two more agreements after these two that come in, and there might be actually a third with the public defenders. It might be a separate agreement than the circuit court. So there's 2 to 3 more agreements before everything's locked in place.
Okay, and this, my last question, it's just so clear in my mind. Like I said, I just want to make sure I know what it is. The purpose of it is to make sure we have our money where our mouth is. I want to know that. Is that right?
That initial transfer that we did literally was to say we've got the funds to pay for the project.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was, sent it in, wired it in. They wired it back 2 days later, and we've done that step.
Yeah.
The point I want to add to is that when you look at this and think, well, the funding agreement, we've already started. It should have been done, ahead of time more. And I agree. And they had sent over the initial to reviewed, and then I reached back out, and it was the criminal justice or not DOJ, state courts, whatever. But then they sent it back, and I said, okay, well, is it final? And they were, no, it's still being reviewed separately by DOJ. There's the emails that I sent to all of us for review. I said, okay, well, it's fine us. What about them? And then responded back, oh, no, actually, they have a few changes to the state. When they sent it out, their attorney still had a few corrections they want to make. So just to be clear that they were still reviewing it too. We saw one of those things where they sent us and saying, hey, it's been a year. Why have you guys approved it? It's like, no, they were the last ones to make changes and send it over. We actually had it for asking, oh, let's put it on the agenda. And then they emailed back saying, oh, no, there's a few corrections that the DOJ attorney sent.
Okay.
So just let that know too.
This seems important, and I was wondering why they waited this late in the game to get this to us.
Correct. And I think they've had it, they kind of sent it out, but then they were still making corrections at the last. Very quick.
No, I got that from me. So, okay. I'll entertain a motion, I'll entertain a motion to approve it.
Move for approval of the Morrow County Courthouse Master Funding Agreement. I second.
Moving second, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Thank you. Okay, next up is our business items, financial policy approval. Okay.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Kevin Ince, Finance Director. So we have some policies for review, discussion, and hopefully adoption. These came, the impetus to get these created and on the agenda came from a grant compliance review that was done for our victims and witness advocate grant. Some of those monies are federal monies, so as you know, those compliance reviews are a little bit more extensive, and so are the requirements associated with that. In that, she identified policies that, although, well, not all of them, segregation of duties policy exists in practice. And in terms of internal controls and processes that we currently have in place, identified the need to actually have that documented. That's a requirement from the federal regulations. Also, obviously, documented policies are certainly a best practice. So she identified two policies that we needed, and then there was another policy or another topic that we actually have an existing policy for that just needed to be augmented with the correct language. So the policy that needed to be updated was policy 7L. It's I think that was a recently modified one for fraud, theft, and loss of county property. I included the red line so you can see the changes.
Thank you.
And that you're welcome.
It makes it easier to read. I appreciate it.
And largely that it augmented the language that was in that to include notification requirements to any grant administrators and granting agencies if there's fraud, theft, or loss related to cash or assets provided through a grant program. The two new policies, segregation of duties. I'm not going to go through it in detail unless you'd like me to. But this is a pretty basic internal control policy that exists in most organizations. Certainly in practice exists in all organizations. And for the most part, we are already compliant with that. There's going to be some, with the adoption of a policy, we'll have to document any exceptions or alternative controls that we have in place to where we're unable to achieve what's outlined in the policy. But by and large, we're largely, there's no changes associated with that. The other policy is non-cash donations and contributions. This is not only something that just came up in this compliance review, but has also recent, other events and discussions with our auditors also came up in that context as well. Something that I wasn't aware of in terms of the proper accounting in a county government for non-cash contributions and donations, which are actually required to be recorded at an imputed value or a market value. There's a few different bases for determining what value that is. As items or services or labor are donated to the county, and then there's and this happens quite frequently, actually. And so this is one of those that we're going to have to do some departmental training to make sure that everybody's aware and establishes a process for the intake and review of donations of anything that's not cash related. So that's my overview. I will entertain questions.
Well, we got a request from elected that this be tabled and there be some discussion on it before you adopt it. And that staff sit down and talk to some of the electeds that are involved with the finance part of the county. So I don't see any reason why not.
Well, there is a little bit of a time constraint on
responding to OJD,
On the CBSSD.
CBSSD, for the grant compliance.
So do you have to have that?
I don't remember the exact date.
Well, we're past the deadline, and that's on me. It's just due to workload. These are significant policies to develop. I guess I would ask, was there specific concerns?
So I think we're probably all got the same email addressed to us, and it was related. Mike Gorman brought it up, and it was relating to, if I remember correctly, it was his collection of property taxes and accounting for the enterprise zone fees and the different things like that. And he says it's something about statutory requirements related to that. So I guess, is there anything here that, to your knowledge, would affect his department in accounting for those and any statutory requirements that he's down to?
Only to the extent that the actual collection and recording of that, I'm not sure how it would apply to. That's unclear. So essentially, the intent and the purpose of segregation of duties is that no individual, ideally no individual department, has complete oversight and control over any financial transaction that gets recorded. Those are very basic internal control requirements that the county is required to follow. And so, and there's nothing that's put forth in that policy that's beyond what would be considered to be basic best practices for internal controls. The only potential lack of segregation is just with regard to that department is the fact that the assessor and tax collector that are combined in one department, but it doesn't sound like that's what he's alluding to. So I'm not sure.
So maybe what we could do is, it sounds like we need to adopt something so that we get in compliance with grant and we don't get in trouble with the state. Maybe we adopt this, and if it directs staff to address any concerns that Mike has, and you can revise the policy as you see fit to address any concerns that may.
It's the great benefit of addressing things through policy is that policy can be changed.
Well, and this policy also contemplates that in some situations there may be a lack or inadequate personnel or some type of organizational structure that prevents accepting of best practice internal control. That doesn't mean you shouldn't adopt best practice internal controls, but the mechanism is then I would work with that official or that department head to ensure that we have and document internal controls in place that address the lack of segregation of duties in that case. And we do that, currently. It's just not formalized in a policy.
Yeah. You say we don't want to get in trouble with the state. We already passed the deadline, so we'd already be in trouble. But Mike's there, and for us that don't really know, as laymen, to get in the middle of these financial things. Mike, would you want to talk about this? And you heard what was proposed by Jeff. What do you think of that?
No, that's fine. I just, I probably collect, most of the money in the county, not just county money, but I collect, $100 million last year, right there at, and property taxes is pretty simple. It's my bigger concern is more with the enterprise zone fees and things, and I just want to be able to have the conversation and talk and be a part of creating a policy that we all can follow, understand, and not necessarily have to be called out in a public meeting in the future.
I hear you, Mike.
What do you think you could do a meeting with him?
Again, yeah. If there's an inability because of some structure or other arrangement to, have a complete segregation of duties, which is what this policy is, we can work together to develop a mitigating control and document that. It's not, it's not, I don't want to say it's not optional, but it's really not optional. But absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So leave you two guys are experts in the finance part to talk, what you guys know. And now, would you, if we passed it, would you be able to make changes to it, or come back to the VOC for revision, right?
Well, I guess the only time that something would need to come back, and from my perspective to the Board of Commissioners, is if there's a lack of segregation of duties that could have a material financial impact on the county and exposes us to a significant level of risk, and we're not able to devise and implement a mitigating internal control to cover that. At that point, and that's a lot of ifs, right? And that's a lot of steps. It's not, internal control policies aren't rocket science. We can usually develop a mitigating strategy to address any.
Okay. Mike's got his hands up again. Yeah, Mike.
Well, I just want to reiterate part of my concern, regarding, and I haven't had the chance to, read and the whole policy, but part of my concern is, my department has not been audited for like 5 years. Ever since we changed audit firms, I've never had an auditor request information, come in my office, talk to me, or anything. And, that is concerning to me. And, I just want to make sure that, everything's on the, I'm doing things correctly. I think I am, I'm just following past practice, but, that is a concern. So.
Okay.
Yeah, that's that. And I guess I would offer a correction to that. It's not, although they may not be spending, days at a time in his office as our prior auditors did, all of the transactions are tested and audited consistent with governmental audit standards.
Sure.
So sounds like you're doing a good job, Mike.
Yeah, I can certainly request they spend more time digging into it.
Well, what's interesting is the prior auditors would spend a week, in my department, pulling random invoices, random corrections, and we'd have to justify, verify, and provide documentation. That has not happened, Kevin, in the last 5 years.
But we already have most of that documentation through board minutes on corrections and refunds and adjustments, right? And so we just have a different methodology. And I guess I wouldn't use our prior audit firm as a benchmark for anything.
Well, I am using a benchmark because I have had I don't even see where they mention my department in the audit report. And, I know I'm good, but I don't know that I'm that good where I do everything perfect. So, I'm just going to agree to disagree on that.
I've heard some other people say that an audit isn't all terrible job. It's not like an IRS audit in a business, because you do pick up things that maybe you need to work on. If that's a fair statement, because I've heard some other people say that. So, do you want to make a motion there? Or one of you guys?
Gus has been chomping at the bit.
I have been chomping at the bit. So I think, given our discussion, we'll go ahead and move forward. And if corrections need to be made, we can make corrections. So I'll start with I move to approve Resolution R-2026-14, adopting the segregation of duties policy.
Second.
Moving second, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Okay.
Motion carries.
I've got a couple more to make. So I move to approve Resolution R-2026-12, adopting the non-cash donations and contributions policy.
Second.
Moving second, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
All right, last one. I move to approve resolution R-2026-13, approving and adopting the changes to policy 7L county fraud, theft, and loss of county property policy.
Second.
Then moved in second, further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Matt, you want me to stay up here for this next one?
Well, sure.
Sorry, for the next item, he's involved in it a little bit.
And this,
Yes.
I was next on there. Consideration of cycle FTE request finance department, Matt.
Yeah. So the reason why his name is not on there is while it is a request from his department, it does go to the FTE reclassification committee, which comprises of the county administrator, the HR director, and the finance director. Usually when we have a department involved in a request that's on the committee that recuse themselves, that means it's all on me. So generally, this is a request for a temporary position. And so if it was looking at a full-time position that would be ongoing cost to the county, I would have reconstituted the committee with some other department heads to help reflect on this. However, what the request is for a temporary position to come in and help digitize some of the records, which would be beneficial in catching up some of the items from the finance department, as well as in preparation of the ERP system rollout that we're looking for in early fall this year. And as such, they're looking for about a 2-month period, get a young person who can come and is familiar with technology, can be trained up and can scan and put those files where necessary. We're looking at pulling that money. Michelle Kessler brought this up and Kevin is in full support, but pulling that a little bit out of the ERP consulting funds. So it's budget neutral. We would just need to do some transfers between which accounts it goes to.
So is this money that the ERP project was going to be?
Correction. I'll give offer a correction on that. So we have funds budgeted for accounting support with the third-party accounting firm that we've been using to lean on. In talking with Michelle, she felt like we could easily make an adjustment to, we're talking about, I think, $10,000 or less to that, to the request, to the work that we're going to ask them to provide for us for the next fiscal 2027 and for the last month of 2026, and utilize that funding to cover the cost of this position. So there's no net increase in budget, but there would be an FTE impact.
Okay, and so you feel that your department can handle taking that ERP load that would be lost? Okay.
Yeah, it's not from the ERP budget though. It's from accounting, financial consulting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's got no fiscal impact beyond that. You're comfortable with it? That's great.
Okay, any other questions?
Nope. I move to approve the FTE request of a temporary office clerk for the finance department as presented.
Second.
Been moved and second, for the discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If nothing else, I'm going to excuse Kevin. He is going to go on vacation in preparation of his son's graduation tomorrow. So,
All right.
Great.
thanks, Kevin.
Yep. Thank you.
How far are you gonna have to travel? Right here, right?
Well, the Hermiston, so they do it up in Tri-Cities.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Okay. Annual presentation of Water Resources Department, Chris.
So I'm going to just put a preamble on this. If you've got that, do you have a USB? It's on USB drive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you,
Oh.
are you in on the Zoom? Oh, I've got it down. Oh, HDMI.
I've got one. One second.
Okay. So, and as a preface to this, as part of the budget cycle, we have several specific entities that we have contracts with, and we want to give them opportunities to come and report on it. Last week we had a report. The last meeting we had a report. 2 meetings before. Chris, I had reached out to him for last one, but it was a little bit late on the scheduling, so he had some conflicts, and so we asked him to come this week to do that. And thank you. Right now, put this up. And you got a lot of files here. The 2050 slides?
No, there should be,
Let me do my date modified.
yeah, there.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
And Chris covers a lot of things for the county.
Great. Thanks, Matt.
So it's behind us.
It's going up there.
Okay. Well, good morning, Chair Sykes, members of the commission. For the record, my name is Chris Coitz. I'm the North Central Region Manager for the Oregon Water Resources Department. We're at our regional office in Pendleton, so lovely drive down Heppner this morning. Yeah, as Matt mentioned, I'm here just to provide kind of a sort of a general engagement update, a number of things we work with your staff on in the county, and then specifically talk about some of the work that we do that relates to the contract we have with the county, which has been the contract we've had as long as I've been in this position. And I think years before that, I've been in this role about 7 years. So, and feel free to interrupt me. Want it to be more conversational than me just talking at you for 15 minutes. So feel free to jump in anytime. Next slide. So this is, I'm not going to read through all this. This is just like, part of our slide deck for the department. There's kind of mission goals, some just data points of our roles and responsibilities throughout the state. Next slide, Matt. And then these are some of our key responsibilities around the state. We do a lot of data collection, analyzing, and we share that data, a thing we do a lot with, in particular, the planning department of Morrow County. We have a dam safety obligation, kind of the nuts and bolts of what the department does, just distribute water according to prior appropriation. We have a grant and funding wing of the agency, and then the water right transactions and processing new water right applications and transfers. Next slide. So this is my slice of heaven here in the state. You can see Morrow County there on the map is split between 2 different water master districts. One is the District 5 Water Master's Office, which is in Pendleton, and one, the District 21 Water Master's Office, which is in Condon.
Yeah, hold on, I have a question. Why does it go 3, 21, 5? Literally, it should be 3, 4, 5.
Yes, you're not wrong. So the numbering has changed over the years. So like, for example, the District 21 Water Master's Office used to be run out of John Day. So District 4 includes the Upper John Day watershed. It was split off, about 15 years ago as we've added staff. Same thing with District 23. That used to all be run out of the Walla Walla, was run out of Pendleton, and made that change too.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Next slide. So I split the updates up into each water master district, and these are so the water master in District 5 is name is Greg Silbernagel. The position that the contract with the county helps fund is an assistant water master position, which supports both water master districts. And so these are some of the things. It's not an all-inclusive or exhaustive list of the things that the Greg and the staff person that the contract helps fund do in District 5, but just run through some of the high points, certainly. So one of our main obligations and time commitments of this position is to manage the Butter Creek Management Plan, which has been in operation for over 30 years. it helps the irrigators in Butter Creek, utilize the limited amount of water that's in Butter Creek in the spring to kind of its highest benefit. So it allows it's a rotation between users when water is available. And people can, maybe turn off for a few days, let their neighbor use their water, then their neighbor turns off, they turn back on. And what's spelled out in the management plan is like how the department manages that between users. It's not a perfect system, but we've been doing it for quite a number of years, and we're looking at ways to improve, of course, always how we do things. So down a little bit further in the bullet list here is it says Butter Creek measurement. We received a large quantity of ARPA dollars a number of years ago, and one of the things that the ARPA money was set aside to do was to help us put more measurement out on the landscape. So we had about $1 million of ARPA dollars in our cost share measurement program, which allows the department to partner with water users and pay up to 75% of the cost of measurement devices. It's reimbursement. Often for irrigators, their 25% is in kind, so their effort to actually install the measurement device. So we've been working pretty extensively with the Butter Creek users. What we used to have to do is send a staff person out 3 times a week to get in all the ditches and do measurements. In 2026, we have the technology's improved significantly since the early 90s. So we're looking for ways to give the irrigators more data, make our lives a little bit more easier so we can give them better data. So that's an ongoing project that our office is managing. These are some of the other things on here ongoing, the ordinance or the county line recharge project. We help those folks track the water that they're diverting through the Westland Irrigation District Canal so they can account for our recharge. And that's been a project we've been doing since the 70s. And then there's a lot of groundwater management areas in both Morrow and Umatilla County, but specifically for Morrow County, Butter Creek Ordinance and Ella Butte are areas of either critical groundwater areas or withdrawal areas. And then we do there's a new legislation in Senate Bill 85 from a few years ago that requires that we review water supply plans for CAFOs. That doesn't come up a ton, but certainly we're working with the CAFOs in Morrow County to make sure that they have the water they need. We just had a great tour with Greg Harris at 3 Mile. A couple weeks ago, our director was out, which was really great. And then we run 3 gauges, the Ordinance Butter Creek and 5 Mile gauges that this position is responsible for making sure they're operating properly. Next slide. So in District 21, Ken Tieman's district, it's a little bit smaller slice of his district in Morrow County. Most of the work that Ken does in Morrow County, Ken and the staff person do, are in the Willow Creek drainage. There's the storage project here in town run by the Army Corps. Our role in that is releasing stored water for irrigation. So the irrigators communicate with our office on calls, basically on a 24-hour kind of call basis. They can say, hey, I need 5 CFS tomorrow, and we work with the dam tender to make sure that water gets to the proper irrigator, and then we have to track all of that. So each irrigator kind of has their bank account of how much water they have in the reservoir. It's up to them to decide how they want to use it. We just have to make sure it gets to them and track it properly. We're also working same program, same pot of money as the ARPA dollars to get measurement in Willow Creek drainage. And so our staff have been working to get those devices installed. In Ken's district, we have 3 more gauges that this person's responsible for. I actually don't think Pine Creek is in Morrow County. Sorry. It's a little bit it's outside of, a little west of Fossil. But Ray and Butte Creek certainly are. We do an immense amount of groundwater data collection in Ken's area that is all available online for Morrow County residents to look at and download if they'd like. And then we do a lot of water rights research questions. So realtors or landowners are thinking about buying property, or they've inherited something from their dad and they want to know kind of what their water rights are. So we do a lot of outreach to folks, especially when transactions are happening. And we encourage people to reach out to us, because the thing that I hate when we have to do it is, somebody buys a property and either the realtor wasn't quite as transparent as we would like them to be, or there's just a miscommunication on the water rights. And so they think they've paid a lot of money for something of value. And, if it's a really junior water right, maybe it's actually not that valuable to them for whatever they're trying to use. Next slide. Okay, these are some of just the things that I've been, so setting aside the contract that we have with you all and the work that that person does. This is sort of the work that I'm doing with your staff throughout the county. So obviously lots and lots of time and energy has been spent on the Lumwama over the last number of years. One of the things that I've been helping particularly Tamara Mabbitt on is the roadmap project and providing some technical assistance to her and GSI as that project has moved along. It's been, from my viewpoint, a really great partnership, and appreciative of the federal dollars that Morrow County was able to get, and we've been able to provide some technical review. And we actually got some legislation passed in the last long session, Senate Bill 1153, which allows gives some more flexibility for community systems in areas where we wouldn't generally approve a water right. Because of the groundwater limitations we have, especially on the north side of the county. We do a lot of coordination with the planning department as they're considering land use applications and as the water. So if somebody has a water need, and this has come up a lot recently at data centers. So it's like the data center, may be coming to the county and saying we want to do X, Y, and Z, and we have the water to do it. So the planning department often reaches out to us to ensure that what is being contemplated in a land use decision is accurate based on our records, and that the applicant has the legal access to water that they need to, do whatever land use change they're looking to do. And then I know this is wrapped up, but we participated in the Water Advisory Committee work that happened a couple of years ago, and provided some technical review on the briefing papers that I think were presented to you all like a year or so ago. I don't remember exactly when that happened. So that's what I had kind of prepared to share with you all. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have, either on what I've discussed or other concerns or feedback you have based on the department's work in your county.
Okay. Any questions, Chris? I don't.
I think you're doing good work.
Thanks, Commissioner.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thanks for the report.
Yeah, and then our contact. Well, you can reach out to me anytime. I'd say our contact info is on there.
I'm going to grab those files and email it to them. So
Perfect.
Those.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is the 60. Ratification of updated Fair Board bylaws. Diane and Shelby.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Shelby Shanefelder, president of the Morrow County Fair Board, and wanted to join you today to seek your approval on an amendment to our bylaws. We've updated our bylaws Article 4 to allow for 4 non-voting adult members and then 2 non-voting student members. So this would be in addition to our 7-member voting board. These positions would serve 3-year terms, and they would serve in sort of a support advisory role to the board. And then if we were to have vacancies on the board, they could potentially join the board as voting members. We've presented this bylaw change at our last 3 meetings this spring, and if approved by the board, then we would start the process of advertising these positions here this summer.
Well, I think it's great. It's awesome that you have as much interest as you do, and I think having people on deck who are ready to fill in positions and who will have experience is a great way to do it. So I don't have any questions. Just I think it's a great idea.
Thank you.
Dave, you have anything you're looking on?
Yeah, I'm just making sure we're good on that oversight on the finance part of it.
Just 1 second. Which aspect do you look at?
Well, just overall good on if it, you don't see any change in your abilities to the county.
No, As we look at it, it seems like the financial stuff, this is pretty much just for the meetings. According to RS, it's still, the fair is in charge of the fair money that's designated and that, but the county is the holder of of those funds, generally speaking. And so these changes more or less impact the board members and how they operate, and not so much the fiscal management of it. So,
Well, that's what I thought. I just want to
Yeah.
make sure that you felt like you don't feel like it's changing anything.
All right, well, I'll go ahead and move to approve and ratify the updated Morrow County Fair Board bylaws effective June 4th, 2026 as presented.
Second.
Moving second for the discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Okay, next up is.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
thanks,
you.
Shelley.
Next up is our ratification contract for airport improvement grant. Excuse me.
Okay, this is a request for ratification, and so a little bit of forgiveness. As we were going through here, this came through kind of a DocuSign option, and it kind of got locked up on where and how it was. When I finally got it, it was past the May 22nd deadline for acceptance of this grant. And this is a grant for $160,000, which pays for up to 95% of the amount for infrastructure improvement at the airport. So it's we're doing for the PAPI lights, right? And so this is where they line up with the pilots so they know their level coming in for the landing. I went ahead and signed the document, even though it exceeded my authorization by $10,332. And wanted to bring it to the board, acknowledge that I went ahead to do this just because it's FAA. There's no way we can change in fact, one of the things right at the top is you cannot make changes to this agreement. So I went ahead and signed and try to get it in so we could get it processed and get that grant. I just wanted to come for ratification for the DOC and just acknowledge that there's extenuating circumstances that I had to sign the document. So asking for your ratification, I will try to make sure that that's a very limited occasion of having to go ahead and get those signed.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm on board. I just would request if this situation does come up again, I would at least like an email.
That is understandable, and I apologize. So yes.
I understand. Absolutely sign a grant for money. That's a pretty easy one to forgive.
This is it.
So, all right.
So my only comment is, I know that we've discussed this multiple times before, and maybe, when some of this comes up, when we approve moving forward, that there's some things that we authorize the administrator to sign if it's within this parameter. And then we don't get to this situation because this isn't like we weren't aware of this project going.
We've been talking about this for a years.
Well, it's been an application that went through. I mean, I think you all received emails from congressional members saying congratulations.
Yes.
And it's just, how it got sorted through, and with the Google, the DocuSign, it kind of went to Rory, but then got locked out because he responded saying, I can't sign this. And so it locked up their system. And even Rose is like, could you see if you got an FAA email? Because we won't be able to see it. And so I'm searching and looking for it until it came through. So it was a kind of an odd, extenuating circumstance.
Okay. Well, I move to approve and ratify the FAA grant contract for airport development in the amount of $160,332.
So,
And there was a second one for the discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Okay, that concludes our business. Let's go to correspondence. No. Commissioner reports. Beth,
nothing comes to mind right now, so.
I got a report. I went to the between AWS and Blue Mountain pre-apprentice graduation yesterday in the States. And they just handed out the certificates, about 20 people. And then we had lunch, and you know, people banging on the data centers all the time, certain people, you know, and sometimes that's all you hear. The big story just came out, you know, in Oregon. It's just bang, bang, bang. Well, this here really was, I don't know, it shows you on the ground what's happening in Morrow County with our economy. You have 20 people there. They went through this 4-week program. They learn about maintenance on data centers to then move on and try to get jobs, good jobs, working in the data centers. And I happened to sit with the guy there, and he was there with his wife and their little child. And he was working at FedEx at the time. And I talked to him and talked about his story. I said, well, why'd you do this? He says, because it's a better job. And it's just gonna, you know, he says, I'll be able to do better. And you look at them, you know, and there's a lot of kids there. It's unbelievable. So these are young families, just what we need, you know. Well, older families are fine too, but
Good correction.
got a good catch. But you know, it is when you have an economy that's robust and is able to offer these things. I don't know. It was just an encouraging thing to see happen, you know. And well, this guy, he was working for FedEx, so he was going to the classes and working FedEx at night, you know, so he could provide better for his family and you know, and these people break out from jobs and move up the ladder. I don't know. It was just a good thing. Blue Mountain and AWS are working real well together on that. So that's just a positive thing that sometimes we don't hear, you know, about the impact of these data centers on our people.
So I read the article in the East Oregonian last night about this. And one of the pictures, I thought it looked like you in there. So, but my takeaway from the article is that there was some training wasn't just for data center related. I mean, they talked about plumbing and some other trades. I mean, trades in general.
We need
pre-apprentice.
more of those.
So it wasn't, you know, trainings just specifically for the data centers, but for the industry and, you know, well, plant maintenance, I believe, and something else is what the article said.
Yeah, no, that's correct. They could talk to landlords, but it was AWS.
Was the sponsor.
Yeah, they instigated it. They actually paid the people to do it. They need the workers. So that's why they did. And then, you know, they no, you're right. It didn't. And then after the meeting was over and the lunch, then of course I left, but then they had a chance. Because there were several employers there in the State Senate Hall. And so it's kind of a little recruitment thing going on.
Yeah, that job fair.
Yeah, big job fair. And I was glad to see BMCC involved. And, you know, I mean, it's just encouraging, I think, in Morrow County to see some lifeblood in our economy and that kind of thing going on. So
the BMCC thing, Dave, I think is good to point out too, is that, you know, sometimes we hear criticism of, you know, BMCC, they aren't doing anything in Morrow, but here's an example that they are doing something that's here in Portsmouth.
Yeah, you know, after I went through this and after I went to this, I know when I don't know if you remember, when we had somebody from BMCC here, when the data centers, you know, when they were coming in, we asked them, are you guys working to teach people the skills that they might be able? And they said, yes, they were. But this was proof that they really are. They're integrating well with our industries. And like you just said, it wasn't just AWS, it could be up. So it was encouraging. So that's the only thing I had to say.
All right. I don't have anything. My probably big report will be coming in more of an executive session. So,
okay. Alrighty. Okay, well, let's call a 5-minute recess and then we're going to come back to open session and then go into executive session. So. I call the meeting of Morrow County Commission back to order. Now, we are going to go into executive session under 3 ORSs, which I will read now. ORS 192-6602A, which allows the commission to meet in executive session to consider the appointment of a public officer, employee, or staff member, or individual agent. We'll also be going for ORS 192-6602D, which allows the commission to meet in executive session to conduct deliberations with persons designated by the governing body to carry out labor negotiations. ORS 192-6602F and G, to consider information or records that are exempt by law from public inspection and consider preliminary negotiations involving matters of trade or commerce in which the governing body is in competition with governing bodies in other states or nations, and information or records that are exempt by law from public inspection under ORS 192-3.5.1. Second, required.
I do not see anybody from the media on this.
Yeah. Well, let's ask. Do you see anybody in there you don't know?
There's one person under Samsung.
Is there anybody from the media on Zoom?
Are we going to have anybody?
We will not have anybody participating via Zoom.
You don't have anybody yet.
Is it sure block more my?
Yeah.
Sometimes they like to explain that. That's why we're kicking the media out, because there's nobody else. So, okay, with that, we'll follow the, oh, wait a minute, one more thing. Well, there will be potential decision or action on as a result of executive session. Correct, Matt?
I'd always, yes.
You put that on. Okay. So with that, now we will go into executive session. Okay. Regular meeting of the Morrow County Commission is back in order. We're out of executive session, and there will be no action by the VOC. Is there any other business to come before the commission? If not, meeting adjourned.